Good morning. I think we're still in the morning. Yeah. Time changes. It's crazy. Thank you all for being here. And I first want to thank Commissioner Warren, the Big Ten, for putting on an incredible event and for joining the two with the men and women and really making a commitment to the equity that we've all talked about here for several years. So thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. As Commissioner Warren mentioned, I've had the opportunity to be part of several winning programs throughout my tenure, and I expect to bring that same mindset and winning culture here to Wisconsin. I think it's no secret that we haven't had a ton of that in the last several years, but we have a great winning tradition as far as our athletic department, and this is a great time to be a part of the Big Ten. It's been really exciting, even watching the tournament last year and seeing how many teams got into the NCAA tournament and 4 teams going to Sweet 16, and to know that, you know, if you're competitive in this league, you have an opportunity every year to make a run. So that's our expectation. I wouldn't take this job if I didn't think that we could do that here at Wisconsin, and I'm really excited to be part of this incredible conference. So. This last 6 months has been kind of a whirlwind for me, but I love my team. They've been really dedicated to our vision and bought into and started to trust exactly what we're all about. We're trusting the process. Little Sixers reference there for you. But in the end, can't wait to get started, and I'll open the floor.
I'll take a question in the back.
Marisa, Steve Streaming, XL High School Sports, Indiana Sports Network. Marisa, talk a little bit about what you're planning on bringing from such a great program at UConn and Gino, and talk about Wisconsin taking the leap of faith with you to coach their women's basketball team.
Is UConn good? Oh, no, just kidding. They're fine. No, I took so much from Coach Ariema and from that experience. You know, he is an incredible mentor and friend. Fortunate to call him a friend as well. But really the expectation to win and everything that we do, creating a really competitive environment, and then just creating a culture to be able to sustain that winning mindset. It's not just kind of a flash in the pan, but really year in and year out getting the right type of people to buy into something that's bigger than themselves. And so I think that's where we're building. We're building the foundation there. We started with the really good people. I was really fortunate to inherit great kids, and now really getting them to understand our expectation to win. And so whether it's drills, whether it's in practice, whether it's sprints, or we get to the games, that every time we enter into a competition, we expect to win.
Second row to my left.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. What is the identity you're hoping to create here in your first year, and then what are your goals for your first season as a head coach?
Yeah, so as far as kind of the identity piece, I want to make sure that we play with passion, we're selfless, that we get excited for other people's successes, that, you know, we're the most prepared team, and that really our kids understand that every time they take the floor, they feel confident and ready to compete. That's the biggest thing as far as how we're going to approach the season. And then as far as goals, you know, for us, it's really about getting better and being the best version of ourselves every single day. And so I don't know that it would make sense to put out any type of record, but for us, it's going to be attacking first this preseason like we did, and then getting into non-conference games and then conference games. And if we continue to build, I think that we'll be showing something that will be really exciting and something that our Wisconsin fans have been hungry for us to accomplish.
We have time for 1 to 2 more questions in the back.
Hey, Coach. Nick Jenkinson, South Central Indiana News Network. Sydney Hilliard was one of your best players last year. Just talk about her improvement from this season to what you've seen so far since you have arrived in Madison.
Yeah, Sid has been just incredible, and I talked about inheriting great kids. I mean, her work ethic, how hard she works, and her leadership with kind of leading by example. Really excited about what she's going to be able to do. She's also worked really hard on her outside shooting to become even more of kind of a triple threat and be able to score at all 3 levels. But I think, you know, anyone who played against her in the past knows she can get to the rim at will. She has a great mindset, but she's also figured out how to play with other great players on the floor and make them better too. So she led us in assists last year. I'm excited for her to be able to do a little bit more of that as well as scoring, and just all around a great kid, and I'm excited for her to be a Badger.
Do we have one last question for Coach? Here in the second row, Ryan.
Hi, Coach. Ryan Sleen from Greater Than the Game. As a new coach, how are you going to measure success this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for us, success is going to be measured in how much we come together as a team. We build our culture and that foundation, and then we really set forth kind of the identity we talked about before and really solidify that. And then from that, I think that will materialize into wins. How many wins? I don't know. Maybe you've got, you can give me a 20, 30 probably, yeah. But no, I think we're just going to take it one game at a time. And if we can go every game 1-0 and approach it like that, then you really have a great opportunity to have a successful season.
Well, thank you so much for your time this morning, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here.
Going to be fun to cover Marisa over the coming years. Turn our attention to the men from Madison. Going to be a different team from last year for sure. 4 of the top 5 scorers last season are gone. Brad Davison does return, however, for his 5th season. This was the #1 scoring defense in the Big Ten last year, but as you can tell from the transfers coming into, it will be a different team this year. We'll hear from Greg Gard in a second, but first, one more time, Kevin Warren.
Okay, our final coach today, who has been a leader in the Big Ten Conference, entering his 7th season at the University of Wisconsin. He's had a great run, 4 trips to the NCAA tournament, 2 trips to the Sweet 16. Head basketball coach, Greg Gard.
All right, it's great to see everybody. It's obviously terrific to be back here in person, and cardboard cutouts were nice and everything, but to be able to not only see student athletes, fellow coaches, but even friends in the media, back to a sense of normalcy, which is obviously very, very good to feel. We're off to about a week into practice. I really like our team. I know there's not a lot of returning recognizable household names, but at the same time, what I've watched develop from last spring into the summer and then so far this fall is watching a lot of younger guys become old and take their next step in their leadership, in their voice, and obviously in their production on the court. So really an exciting group, I think a talented group. I think we have a chance to have some depth. But obviously we're very early in the stages of putting that all together, and there's going to be growing pains as we go through it. So with that, I'll open up the floor.
Here in the second row.
Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. Coach, how are Tyler Wall and Jonathan Davis handling their new leadership role, especially coming into the limelight on such a big day like today?
Yeah, I think this day is good for them, because neither one have been here before in terms of this atmosphere. So that's who I was referring to when I watched last spring when we reconvened after the NCAA tournament. We got back together, just watching those 2 guys take ownership and leadership in our weight room and what we did with our small group workouts last spring. And those 2 guys have been waiting for this opportunity to really walk into a leadership role and find their voices on the team, and obviously each leading a little different way. And they've got a great mentor in Brad Davison to kind of help them through that. But both have done really good things, not only individually to improve, but also to help our younger guys move towards the preparation of this season.
Right here in the front row.
Tom Bruce, Sports Illustrated. You guys, you've been in this league a long time, enough to know what makes Big Ten basketball so great is the electric atmosphere in all these arenas. How difficult was it last year to try to get through all of that with such a low energy level, and how excited are you looking forward to being back playing in front of full arenas again this year?
Well, you're excited to play at home. I don't know how much excited you are to be on the road, Tom. So It was hard. It was challenging, especially the duration of it. I think that's one thing that I noticed, even being here in Indianapolis in the bubble, in the postseason play, that you were so isolated and so quarantined. And we had a few fans that were allowed in the NCAA tournament, but that was a challenge, I think, and we feed off that energy. And it's going to be great to just the events I've been around so far this fall, the fans' fever to come back and be back re-engaged. I think there's always a greater appreciation for things in life when something gets taken away. And when fans didn't have the opportunity and we didn't have the opportunity to engage with those fans, now that we're returning back to, like I said before, a sense of normalcy, there's a greater appreciation for it. So we're looking forward to it.
To my left in the second row.
Hey, Coach. Ian Patton with Badger Hill Sports. Last week you touched on how Stephen Crowell was really stepping up in practice. I'm just wondering how you see him matching up against some of the larger back-to-the-basket bigs in the Big Ten, like Travion Williams and Kofi Coburn.
Yeah, well, those guys are going to be a challenge no matter who we have, whether it's Kofi, whether it's Travion, whether it's Zach Edey, Hunter Dickinson at Michigan. Obviously, we have terrific post players in this league, and Steven's worked. I think the best thing for Steven was the experience he got last year every day in practice, and it'll be by committee. He'll have some help there with Ben Carlson. We have a grad transfer in Chris Vogt that'll help up front as well, along with some other guys that'll be in the mix too. But he won't do it alone. We're going to have to be very good team defensively as a team. We've never relied really on one individual to set our defense or to spearhead it. We'll have specific assignments, and guys will grow into that role. But Stevens, I have been really impressed with him and how he's grown and matured and what he can do. And I think the exciting part is just the unknown in terms of what the potential is for him and where he can take it.
We have time for 1 to 2 more questions. In the back.
Greg, Steve Strimming, Indiana Sports Network. Real quick question. I always thought Brad Davidson epitomized Wisconsin basketball. How much of a on-court coach is he, and is this a direct with you and him?
Yeah, I think his role has changed a little bit, not so much in leadership, but he's really tried to help with Tyler and Johnny and some of our younger guys find their leadership voice. But to be honest with you, Brad, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. He's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. And what you see on the court is how he is every day in practice. There's never a day off. If he ever is bumped up or banged up, I got to make him stay out of the gym. So what you see is what you get with Brad, and he lives life that way, full of zest. The cup isn't half full, it's overflowing every day. So we're obviously extremely delighted that he's back in our locker room, and he's really been a great resource and mentor for our young guys.
We have time for one final question. Okay, well, thank you for your time this morning, Coach. Good luck this season.
All right, thank you.